Hello and welcome to the Transfer Timer, a show brought to you by oddschecker in association with whoscored.com. I'm your host Dan Worth, delighted to be joined by former Manchester United defender Wes Brown. Wes, how's things?
Yeah, good morning. Very good, thank you. Just got back off tour. I'm just looking forward to the weekend now, if I'm being honest, mate.
Yeah, the season's come round pretty quick, I thought. Obviously, the World Cup finished, and it feels like there's not been that much of a break in between. But we'll kick off talking about the upcoming season then and United's chances. How excited are you for the new campaign at Man United, and where do you expect them to sort of be finishing this year?
Yeah, really looking forward to it. It was funny, and I only realised it about a week ago, but Michael Carrick's probably one of the longest serving managers in the Premier League at the moment, which is absolutely crazy. But yeah, listen, I think I definitely enjoyed the way last season finished. Lots of ups and downs, but as soon as Michael took over, we steadied the ship a little bit in a way. Ended up finishing third, which the time when comes in, you probably don't think that's you're capable of that. Um, still a lot of work to be done, but I'm really looking forward to this season for the simple fact. Listen, Man United only look higher. Listen, I think it's going to be a difficult, tough season, but at the same time, I've got the excitement that we could do third or better. I think obviously Arsenal are definitely the favourites, especially after their game with City as well. I know that doesn't mean anything, but as long as we get like a consistency in the team, I feel like you never know what could happen this season.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like third and above is a pretty good result considering the strength of Arsenal from last season. And be interesting to see what City do under Maresca now. But interesting that you mentioned that about Carrick because this is his first full season in charge of Man United. But yeah, as you say, there's so many new managers come in this season that he is still one of the most established ones. What do you expect from Carrick in his first full season?
Well, I think I expect us to start well. I think he will want the players to understand that, there was times last season when we probably weren't playing that well under Michael, but somehow we got a result, so the grit, the determination, the willingness to keep on running and trying, I think he'll install that in the players. And by doing that, you pick up points. I always used to say to people, when we used to win, we didn't play well every game. No, but we managed to get a draw when we needed a draw, or we'd nick a win when we probably didn't deserve it. And they add up points, and I think if Michael can install that, we've seen it a couple of times last year. I honestly think that there's chance that we'll, go in a nice little run, be consistent, and then from winning, the positive sides come out of it.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously, a big thing this season is that Manchester United are back in the Champions League. Obviously, you're a Champions League winner. How do you think that United will get on in that competition? And do you think increasing the amount of games with that European pressure will have a negative impact, or do you think it will help United flourish?
Yeah, well, you need the right squad, don't you? It's as simple as that, and you need the players and to be ready. You need to be ready for injuries if that happens. Obviously, the format's different, so you could potentially, if you did well at the beginning, be sort of through, and then ease things down a bit. You could change it up quite a lot. But I think everyone's really excited that we're back in the Champions League. We've honestly missed it, and it's somewhere the club want to be. Um, can we win it? That I think that's a difficult task, but at the same time, you just have to go as far as you can in it, and hope that it doesn't hamper the Premier League too much because Champions League nights are so exciting, and you just want to really do well in them.
Yeah, for sure. Now, a player who has done well in the Champions League for Manchester United and on his travels recently is Marcus Rashford, obviously back with the squad now. Do you think he can have a big season based on what we've seen at Barcelona and Aston Villa? Do you think he's going to come back ready to hit the ground running for United?
Yeah, well, obviously that's been the big talking point, I suppose, at the club. But I think Michael especially will be delighted because it's another player, another international player back in the squad. And I've always said to people, you need cover everywhere. When we won the Champions League, we had cover everywhere. Where you bring a player out and he's just the same quality sort of coming on. And like I said, the fallout was never with Michael, and I know them too. I know both of them respect each other, so you're just hoping Marcus can, when he gets a game, he starts off well, contributes to the team and plays to his best form. But yeah, like I said, I think it's a bonus for Michael to have him. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, fair play. I struggle to disagree with you. Right, so obviously a couple of weeks left in the transfer window. We've got the show's called the transfer timer, and the reason for that is because we've got three targets for Manchester United for you. I'm going to give you 60 seconds on the clock. I want you to talk about each player for 60 seconds, and then at the very end of it, I'll tell you when it's up. You tell me
Okay.
whether you'd pay or pass for this player. So the first player we're going for is the rumoured Adam Wharton from Crystal Palace to shore up United's defence. I'll put 60 seconds on the clock now, and I'll pass over to you. Off you go.
Yeah, I've talked about Adam Wharton last year, and obviously he was a big player for Crystal Palace. There was lots of talk of him going to many clubs because he's done so well. It has quietening down a little bit when the transfer window started, but I still think he's a player with great quality. International. I know he didn't go to the World Cup, but I think he knows his role. He knows exactly what he's doing. He gets the ball. He can pass forward. He can tackle. He's young. Um, and if you can get him at the right price, I think he'd be a brilliant buy.
So do you think you'd pay or pass Adam Wharton?
Well, how much is it?
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of money, isn't it? That's the million-dollar question.
Listen, like I said, if you got it at the right price, definitely pay. But if it was too much, I'm talking over 80, pass.
Fair enough. Good stuff. Next up, one who's been heavily rumoured actually as a United seemingly looking to, improve the depth at left back is Lewis Hall. So I'll give you 60 seconds. Three, two, one, go.
Yeah, really like Lewis Hall. Since he's been at Newcastle. Very unlucky. I would have thought not to go to the World Cup with England. But again, he's had a solid season with Newcastle. I still can't believe Newcastle is selling all the players, but that's another story. But yeah, he would be a great fit. Obviously, Luke for me is still a tremendous player. We also have Harry Amas, who's done really well in pre-season games, but you can see Lewis Hall is the real deal. He's young and he's definitely a player that you could bring into United and he would fit in really well. So I'm going to say definitely pay.
Yeah, I think he's rumoured to be around 70 million, but is he still sticking with pay?
Yeah, with inflation and everything, we'll go that. That's the borderline, but we'll take it.
Yeah, nice one. Right, final one then is obviously United lost Casemiro, so we've put in Chouameni from Real Madrid here to maybe come in and add a bit to the midfield. Three, two, one, go.
Yeah, Shivameni, excellent player, lots of experience. Um, Up and down at Real Madrid, I suppose, in the team, but at the same time, I think he would be excellent at Manchester United. He gets about the pitch. He's got great quality. Like I said, he's played in all the big games. Um, Again, it would all come down to price, and I'm not actually quite sure how old he is. If you can tell me that, um, do we know how old he is? 20 seconds left.
So 26.
26, good age, good age. I thought it was a little bit older than that. So he's still got a lot in the tank, like I said, and um, I mean, I'm guessing he'll be frustrated. He doesn't play, quite a lot, and there'll be some teams in for him. A midfielder would definitely help the team again. I like the mixture of players that we've got. Um, but yeah, I would definitely pay.
Nice. Rumoured to be around 68 million. You think that's okay?
That's anything 60 above. So 60 to 80 is fine for that
Yeah.
sort of age group.
Good stuff. That's the first time we've done that game, and I think that went okay. So thanks
Okay.
for that. But a few more transfer questions. Obviously, United have made a few signings already in this window. I just want to get your thoughts on what you think they'll bring and how strong they'll be. And we'll start off with Yuri Tielemans from Aston Villa. Obviously, had a great few seasons there, and even before that at Leicester. looks to be a decent signing. What do you make of him?
Yeah, he's had two half games that I've watched, and really, really good. You know, you can see he's got the experience because he's not phased by anything. Um, really good on the ball. Looks to be take the ball all the time. But the main thing for me, he always looks to pass forward. And I think sometimes last season there was only really Bruno who was doing that at times. You know, really trying to that killer ball into the striker or getting somebody going on the wide. But Tielemans looks like he fits in really well. Like I said, his control over the ball and his vision is definitely up there. And listen, we've not probably seen a fit Tielemans yet as well, but I think it's an excellent buy for a great price. And I think everybody would have to admit that. Whichever team you supported, you know what a quality player that we've got.
Yeah, I think you can see that in how disappointed Aston Villa fans were to lose Tielemans because he was such a good player for them over the last few seasons. United also brought in Andre Santos from Chelsea. Have you seen much of him? And if so, what do you make of it?
Yeah, before he came, I'm going to say no, but he's played most of the games. To be fair, looks really good, young, athletic. Obviously playing in that sort of defensive role, starts the play off again, brave on the ball and looks to get the ball going at a good pace. And I think that's a key word, a pace. The pace has to be right. You know, at times last season we were pretty slow, and I know football's changed a bit, and you like to get things going, but he seems to speed it up a bit. Like I said, I think he's got the legs. um, it's whether, I mean, listen, Casemiro's got big boots to fill. You know, he got some important goals as well last season. Um, so them two have got a tough job to sort of really get to that get to that level. But Santos again, like I said, I think Michael's put him in early because he's probably going to start the season in that position and just get the feel of the team. But you can see, he's got you can see the team's got a great bond at the moment, and he's definitely fitted in well. And he's a young player.
Yeah, very very much so. Um, One of the final questions on the transfer stuff. Do you think there are any players in the current team that might benefit from a loan move or that you'd maybe look to offload?
No, and I say that because we've got a really strong. If everyone's fit, the defense is really there. You know, you've got a pick of maybe five centre backs. Um, you've got Dallo Mazraoui, and then you've got, like I said, Luke Shaw and Harry Amas. And I think between them, especially, well, they're not all fit yet, but between them, that's a really strong defence in my eyes. Like I said, the midfield, you could probably add one more just because of the different positions people can play, whether it's holding or more of an advanced role. Um, I think we've got two on the right with Mbromo and Ahmad, and obviously Rashford and Cunha now. Obviously, Sesko's not been back, so Mbromo will probably start up front. For me, it would be a striker, but if you ask me the question, I wouldn't know who. And that's the problem you've got, I think, with strikers at the moment. There's not really, for me, unbelievable number nines that are in the box, Ruud van Nistelrooy's that are standing there when the ball comes in, just to tap in the net. You know, everybody's a sort of a different player, and I think that's the only thing we're missing. But I don't, like I said, I don't think there's many of them about.
Yeah, that's fair enough. It's always the hard one, isn't it? It's the strikers because
Striker, yeah, because
the
everyone
shorter.
wants to play. Everybody wants to play now. Everyone wants to get involved and touch this, turn there, help the play. I just want someone in the box who's just going to go, thank you, and I'll take another one. But the isn't, the game's played a little bit different.
Yeah. Do you think Sesko is that when he's fit?
I think Sesko's improved. Like I said, the obviously when Michael came in, you could really see his quality. I think he's got a lot fitter as well since he's been injured, and I'm sure he'll get us goals next year. My problem is I always feel when you do want to really compete for things, you need at least two in every position. And I know, like I said, Cunha can play there and Buemo can play there. Um, but Sesko will be a very good signing in the end, and you'll see him get goals. But I still think we need backup.
Yeah. If I could push you then on one Ruud van Nistelrooy-esque striker that United could go in for, no matter how wild it is, who would you pick?
Rude, jeez. It's a tough one. There's not many about. The main strikers in the world, as you know, Mbappe, Haaland. There's you could say obviously a few more, but there's not many of them about. And I can understand the difficulty of maybe finding one for the right price and not paying over the odds when ultimately, the record up to now doesn't show that they get the goal. So it's a tough one.
Yeah, fair
I
enough.
don't know.
Last
I don't know.
then transfer stuff. Um, a bit of a tough one because the rumours only come out recently, but whether Bruno leaves this season, which doesn't look likely, of course, but when he does eventually leave, who do you think would be the ideal replacement for Bruno Fernandes? Because obviously he's very, very important to this Man United side.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it'd be tough to follow Bruno. Um, there's not many people that have sort of from the first season they came, really excelled in what Bruno's done. And if they have, it's sort of declined over the years where Bruno's obviously kept on getting better. I mean, he's a complete Manchester United player in my eyes, where he gives it all. Not only that, he assists and he also can then do the end product as well. Like he's never injured, and he gives it everything. So I don't think you can say there's many Brunos about that can consistently do what he does, and that's the truth.
Yeah, fair enough. Right, moving away from the transfers then, I want to talk a little bit more about Michael Carrick, who you obviously played with in your time at Manchester United. Were there signs when you were playing together that he would be a good candidate to go on and become a manager?
Well, listen, I think when you did watch Michael play, he's very calm on the ball. Um, he's very advanced as well. He knows where his next pass is going to be. He knows what's about him. I could honestly say I could probably name four or five players that could have been managers. But Carres has a calmness about him. When you speak to Carres, you can understand exactly what he wants. And I think obviously goes into that definitely goes into management. But what people don't understand about Carres, he's very likable as well. So as a teammate, he was likable, and I'm guessing the way he would talk to his players and get the information over. The players will like how he does that, and I think we've seen that last season, sort of the attitude and players responding to when Michael came in. They're working hard for him. The they're leaving it all on the pitch, and it's definitely that's the sort of thing Michael brings to the team, and when we definitely played with him, and you can see it sort of shining off on the players now.
Yeah, nice. You mentioned he's very likable. I think he's very likable for Manchester United fans as well because no Premier League team has picked up more Premier League points than Man United since Michael Carrick took over. So long may that continue for United fans. Um, are there any like stories of when you were playing together where you thought, oh, this guy's like a leader or he's a great communicator or anything like that that you can share?
Well, Carras, when he played, he was very, like I said, he was very clever. I think first of all, when I look at Carras when he first came, it was all technique. Everything was technique. His range of passing, whether it's a short pass, it'll be the right way to pass. Whether it's a long pass, he'll be playing it in front of you. All these little things that make players better. Michael did. Everyone, we know a lot of people that can play football, but it's these little contributes that he gives you. So technically he's up there with the best of him. Like I said, and his awareness on the pitch was excellent, and obviously he'll be using a lot of that in what he wants off his players, especially his midfielders. But like I said, he's a player that's done it all. He's won everything. He's played at the highest level, and like I said, there's lots of players that go into management and it doesn't quite click. But Michael has this calmness about him, and the main thing when he gets his points across, he makes sure people understands it, um, and they listen to him, and that's something we all did when we all played.
Yeah, nice. Successful Manchester United teams in the past, then, including the ones that you played for, have always had like world class quality in the squad. Who in this current squad would you consider to be world class?
Bruno. I'd say Cunha, and I'd definitely say Embuemo. For me, Embuemo's been up there for a while, even when he was at Brentford. To be fair, um, Cobby will get more games this year. I do think, um, and I honestly think Euro can be. I know he's made a few mistakes last year. He's still young, but he's got everything there, and it's just whether he does or not. Um, but I'd definitely say them.
Nice. What do you think the biggest difference between the Manchester United teams that you played for and the current Manchester United team is?
I don't know. I mean, listen, the game's changed, hasn't it? It's changed quite a lot. I mean, we pretty much played free football. Everybody did the jobs. You give it to the next person, he does his. Counter attack. Um, we definitely had the sort of willpower to keep going. Whether it was a good game or a bad game, we found teams found it hard to beat us, and we wouldn't let teams beat us easily, even on a bad day. I think it's more the little things. So, for instance, we're not playing well. We're going to run harder today. We're going to win every challenge and sort of get back into the game that way. When it's not going too well, let's turn them and let's all get up the pitch, all battle together. There's all this year. Who can be that special player?
Who are you expecting that to be if you had to pick one?
I'm hoping it's honestly, I am hoping this year it's Sesko because if he gets on a good run and starts scoring, everybody's happy, and I think then with other people contributing as well, you could see things happen. But yeah, if Sesko gets on a really good run, I think it could be a good year.
Nice. If there's one thing that you think this United team can improve on from United teams of the last few seasons, what do you think it is?
It's just grit, you know, the ability to when it gets tough to step up and not get your head down and if anything work a little bit harder. It's all the mental side. It's nothing to do with technical side. That the good players are there for a reason. It's all to do a little bit of the mental side where when the going gets tough, you've just got to stand. You've got to just ease that out for 10 minutes, whatever it is. Really battle down to it, and then as we know, football, you get back into the game, and that's the only difference.
Yeah, nice. Let's talk a little bit then about the Champions League final, which of course you got the assist for Cristiano's goal. Um, I want to know what that feels like, that because that must be amazing.
It was, mate. It was, and to this day, I think every fan thinks that's my best moment, but it probably isn't. But listen, I think it's we started that game really well, and Chelsea had to change the team a little bit in the sense that they had to put Essien at right back, and we
Mm.
know Ronaldo's good. So when the manager did find that out, it wasn't a team talk or anything, but he did mention if you get a chance of putting the ball in the box, Ronaldo will win his fair share. It's as simple as that. But it just happened to be the first one with my left foot. A little 1-2 with Scholesy and floated one in, and it was a great header and got us off to a great start. Great feeling, like you said. It's always good. I mean, if we wouldn't have won that game, it would have been different. But ultimately, we went on to win, and it's something I'll always remember.
Yeah, of course. Obviously, pegged back relatively soon after that. I think it was the 35th minute or something that
Yeah, yeah.
Chelsea. So you went in at half time level. What did Fergie say at half time? What was the feeling and the vibes in the dressing room when you'd obviously gone 1-0 up, but it was 1-1 at the break?
Yeah, the manager's brilliant. It was more in the fact that, don't leave this stadium tonight thinking you could have done more. And it's the right
Mm.
speech to do. There's no point about tactics. We know Chelsea. Chelsea know us. It's the last game of the season. You've just got to leave it all out on the pitch. And he probably did a great speech before the game as well when he went round everybody and told the whole squad a little bit about the player and where he'd come from and what he'd been up to. But we're here as a team, and he made you feel very relaxed. The manager at half time, he obviously there's times to shout, but at the same time he was smart on this one. And I think second half was a very even game. Battled, wasn't many chances, but it was really, you could see it was really tight, and it was one of them. No one wanted to lose at Chelsea. We all know each other. Um, and I know there was England camp a couple of weeks later as well. It would have been the worst feeling ever to walk in there, and then obviously they've won it. But yeah, we just didn't give up. We kept on going. Penalties is always going to be difficult, and obviously when John Terry misses, Edwin pulls off a brilliant save, and that's it again. Again, what a great feeling. I think we deserved it that year. I think we were the best team, but you have to still work for it.
Yeah, and you did. You ground out and then yeah won on penalties. So excellent stuff. You mentioned then though that everyone suggests that your assist for Cristiano Ronaldo's goal in the final is your greatest moment. What would you say is your greatest moment in your career?
Just my debut. That's it.
Yeah.
Just playing,
Well,
just
talk us
playing
through
for
it.
the club.
What was so good about it? Was it the atmosphere? Was it just the feeling, the pride?
I think it's something you think it's not really. You're never really going to get there. If that's being honest, as a kid, it's a dream that you want to do. But many people don't do it. Maybe a few more nowadays because there's lots more games. But ultimately, you've worked really. You're still a kid, aren't you? You've worked really hard, and then you sort of get a chance to run out, and just that first feeling is amazing. Yeah.
Good stuff. Right, well, that brings us to a close for episode 1 of the Transfer Timer with Wes Brown. Wes, thank you so much for your time. It's been very enjoyable getting to chat to you for half an hour. Thanks very much to everyone who listens, and we'll see you next time.
Cheers, Dan.